Hello again. We're going to be doing dividing numbers this time. We did adding, we did subtracting with number lines. We're doing what we did already, multiplication, and now we're going to divide. And I've got some examples for you, and they're going to get progressively more difficult, but necessary, especially as you further in your mathematics education. Now, I'm looking at the first example, 16 divided by 4. It's just 4. That's the answer. No problems. You take 16 loaves of bread and you divide it by 4 people. How much does each person get? Each person gets 4 loaves of bread. That's basically the application of dividing that a lot of people don't realize. They say, well, this is stupid. Well, not really, because when you're divvying up between people, that's what dividing is useful for. Let's say you have $1 million and there's 10 people in the family. How much does each person get? $100,000. That's an application of dividing. It's actually a very quick way to partition or give everybody their particular piece, or any particular example like that. But I'm not here to sit, or stand I should say, and tell you the basics of division. It's rather just the rules of what you have to watch out for. Like in this example, you have a positive divided by a negative. It's the same rules. If you have an even amount of negatives that you're dividing, like with multiplying, the answer is positive. But if you have 1 negative, or 3 negatives, or 5 negatives that you're dividing, then the answer turns out to be negative. Let me say that again. If you have 1 negative, the answer is negative. If you're dividing 2 negatives, the answer is positive. So the answer is still 4, but this time it's negative 4. Moving on, it's the same thing. It's 1 negative divided by a positive. Answer is negative 4. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So you finish those types of problems. Moving on to something more difficult too, because some people who are watching this are already exposed to this and say, oh, I can do that. But I know for a fact that there are students in my algebra class who, given repeated instructions, will figure out this next problem, but don't always remember it off the top of their head. I've got negative 20 divided by 5 over 3. When you have a problem that looks like this, it's a little bit more difficult. What you want to do is you want to turn it into a multiplication problem. And here's how you do it. You leave negative 20 as alone. You don't want to work with division, you want to work with its inverse operation, multiplication. Well, work with it. Change it. Who cares? I won't tell anybody. But if you change a division to a multiplication, you have to change the next number. If it's 5/3, you have to flip it. You have to multiply by its reciprocal. Its reciprocal just means switching the numerator with the denominator and the denominator with the numerator. Hence, instead of 5 over 3, the answer is 3/5. And it's not negative 20, it's negative 20 over 1. Well, a negative times a positive is negative. 20 times 3 is 60. 1 times 5 is 5. Negative divided by positive, negative. 60 divided by 5, 12 times. If you have 60 pieces of food and there's 5 people, or let's just say you have $60 and there's 5 people and everybody wants an even amount, everybody would get 12. So 60 divided by 5 is 12. Much more advanced example, but necessary, because I know when I have students coming into my class, I assume that they know something about a certain type of problem in math. And it turns out most of the time they don't. I don't know if it's not stressed enough, or if it's not seen enough, or maybe it just wasn't exposed. So this is a good time to show this type of a problem. If you have 2 numerators and you're dividing by 1 denominator, let me say that again. If you have 2 numerators and you're dividing by 1 denominator, you can divide each numerator with the denominator. 36x divided by 6 is, 36 divided by 6 is 6, and you have an x left over. Now it's negative 24's turn. Negative divided by positive is negative. 24 divided by 6 is 4. I'm just giving you a specific type of expression. We will go over expressions and what they are, but I just thought that that would be a really cool division problem to go over. Looking at that example, I just kind of flipped things around, 36 over 24x minus 6. Students will then see, oh, if I can do that here, I can do that there. No. It only works when you have one denominator and multiple numerators. It doesn't work if you have multiple denominators and one numerator. You can't divide 36 by both of them. It actually does not work. What you have to do instead is something called factoring, which is far down the line. And it actually is very difficult to do initially, but then you'll learn it and get better with it, and then it's really not so bad. But initially it's not so easy. And with that said, that's not a problem that we're going to do right now, but the exposure of seeing it is good. What can you do here? You factor, but if you don't have the factoring skills, it's not worth doing at this point. You cannot do the same thing on this problem that you can on this. And that's the main point. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here. With that said, it's a very basic overview of division, but it's still an overview. Have a great day.